Hi everyone, and welcome to the first talks about stewardship at RELC. I'm Dan Michalko, and I'm joined by Marty Bretz, and of course, Pastor Dave. Marty is a member of the endowment team and the stewardship committee, so we can talk to things from that perspective. And of course, Pastor Dave has a much broader view and more specific view of things that he would like to see happen here at the church. So let's just right out of the gate start with the fact that the stewardship campaign process didn't come out of nowhere. It started out of discussions in church council, and more directly out of discussions about what the church's vision is. So Pastor, can you describe that conversation? Why did we get there?
Yeah, so somebody pointed out to us, and it's amazing how the simple things are. It shouldn't have taken somebody pointing this out to me, but somebody pointed out that you really need to do visioning before you set the budget, or else the budget is what sets the vision, and it's supposed to be the other way around. I don't know, I went to seminary for 4 years, don't know why it took, 6 years of ministry for somebody to say that to me to figure it out, but it was a good point. And so council, before we started coming up with numbers or anything, we started off with a discussion about what do we want our vision of this church to be. And that was really the question. We've got a great mission statement. Welcome all, tell the story, grow as disciples. Great mission statement. Tells us what we're about. Vision is about what do we hope this church becomes? What do we hope this church becomes if we do that? If we do all three of those things, what do we hope it becomes? So what we came up with after an all-day Saturday council meeting, God bless them, people devoted a lot of time to this, and what we came up with was the visible community church faithfully nourishing all in Jesus Christ. That was the statement, that's what we hope this church becomes, the visible community church faithfully nourishing all. And then from there, it became a question of, okay, what do we need to do to get this done? To be the visible community church nourishing all, what actually needs practically to be done to do that?
Well, I think probably the most visible of all our ministries to the community at large is Bold, the food service. And Marty, I'd like to throw it to you for that. How do you feel that Bold fits into that vision statement? Did it already fit that? And we kind of grew into the vision statement from things we were already doing, or?
I do think it grew from things we were already doing, but I remember clear back to when we started Bold, and it was small, and we had a lot of people helping out, not that many people coming, but of course it grew and grew and grew over time, and I think a lot of everything that we have has unfortunately been impacted by COVID this year. And it forced Bold to make some changes, which I think have made Bold more visible in the community. The cars lining up. Unfortunately, the numbers have gone from 60-some families a week to many times over 100 families a week. And we have had people, I know Pastor mentioned this one day during a service, that we've had people come up, one person came up and said, we're moving, we've been here a year, we see what you're doing, we think it's great. As far as being seen in the community, those people are faithfully coming. They certainly appreciate what we do every single week. And I do believe that it's becoming more and more noticed.
Excellent. Well, another thing, communication and media.
Right.
Obviously part of being a visible church, visible to the community. I mean, that's a big part of the job. But now more than ever, because with COVID, with the pandemic, there are a lot of congregants who cannot attend church for medical reasons, if nothing else. How did things change? What were things at the beginning when the pandemic hit? And how have we been adapting? And how has that been received? So let's start with what happened and then the reaction.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happened, it was, if you remember way back this was in Lent, right? We were still, it wasn't even Easter yet. And if you remember, it was just me and Dave Nelson and Renee Michalko. And it was just doing worship. It was literally done right behind the altar here. We had a $35 store-bought webcam, and it was literally glued on to a tripod and it was just on the altar there, and that's how worship was done for the first couple weeks. And we've gone from that to kind of where we're at now. You know, we have a live stream 10 a.m. service. We have a Q&A afterwards. We have multiple cameras.
And we're doing this.
And we're doing this, you know, we're doing far more recorded stuff. So yeah, it began with a really simple operation, and we made it better. I listened to feedback. We listened to what worked and what didn't.
Yeah. And I think that feedback element of listening to people as members of RELC was critical, because that's why I joined.
Yep.
You had me come on specifically to be monitoring the chat.
Right.
And if people had questions or comments during the service, you know,
Right.
I could relay them. I was your proxy, basically.
Right.
And
Yeah.
things just kept growing from there. So.
Well, and one of the beauties of that, shortly after all of this hit, Doreen and I were out of town for a couple weeks, and the ability to be in Florida or North Carolina and tune in and stay engaged with the congregation and with church, maybe once in a while laughing at things in the first couple weeks. It didn't quite go so good, but when we got back and the way it's working now, it's kind of fun every once in a while to still be sitting there in your sweatpants and your t-shirt and be able to worship. But we do miss being in person. And when we came back to having some things in the sanctuary plus the online, I think that worked out tremendously well. One of the beautiful parts that we have is seeing the chat. Seeing people from Minnesota or wherever they are, and you know, people that can't make it in a given day still saying hello to people. And that's something we don't get when we're in service, really. Which I think is phenomenal. So I would like to keep doing the stream even when we're able to come back full strength here, because I think it truly is helping people, as we're apart, stay together.
Yeah. Well, how important was that to you, especially when everything kicked in and there didn't seem like there was going to be an end in sight?
I mean, it's amazing that the sense of loss of community is just tremendous through all this stuff. I'm in some other organizations we haven't met for the entire year, and you just lose that feeling. And I don't think that the streaming service doesn't quite give us that, but we can see people, we can hear our friends, and I think it's very important to be able to get a feeling back of that community.
And getting back to, Marty was saying that it's still, even though it's important, it's not quite the same. And I think part of that is it's virtual online, whereas in person it's tangible. What kind of feedback have you gotten about tangibility aspects, not just physically being here, but things like getting handouts, getting mailings, getting...
Yeah, so talk about listening to people. So I have heard you, you know, and what a lot of people have said is that virtual only goes so far. You know, whether that's you've got kids and virtual at home, you know, you're virtualed out by the time you get to Sunday, right? You know, because you got your kids, then you've got the Zoom meetings for work. And so, yes, I hear that. And so this is part of nourishing all, right? That was part of that vision statement, is faithfully nourishing all. So we nourish all of us in every aspect that we can. And so part of what we want to accomplish this year is very tangible faith formation, you know. So some of that comes from gift. So if you're a family, there's going to be gift resources, you know, that are going to be mailed to you, not just here's an online worksheet, but you know, tangible stuff that you'll get. We're going to try a new thing, which is basically you can self-publish on Amazon pretty easily at this point, actually. And this gives us a wonderful tool that we can create our own devotional books at church. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to create our own daily devotionals that are then the church is going to be published and that you can receive. Again, it's tangible at work. It's right there. And so...
Now, is that similar to the Fortress Press?
Yeah, similar to those little Fortress Press, although I hope them to be more question orientated and, you know, get you more thinking. And so, yeah, stuff like that, but like the Fortress Press stuff, but stuff that's tailored to our community and where we're at, so that we can work throughout the week and have something tangible in front of us that needs to be done.
I had a little birdie whisper in my ear to bring up adult forum as well.
Yeah, and so adult forum's another one, right? So we've got lots of different things. In addition to the tangible aspect, we've got all sorts of different things for Zoom that we're doing, right? So Fourth for All just started, and we're doing that again. And we still do, we're still doing Bible study. Bible study's done twice a week on Zoom. And so, we're starting to bring back these things. They're sometimes in different format. They just are. But whether it's virtual or whether it's tangible, faith formation is this huge part of what we're doing.
The adult Bible study, I think, have been just very, very good. Because people that, again, other people that can't feel maybe we can come in at a time, it gives us a chance to see each other one more time during the week, to have a nice discussion and to talk. Although Pastor knows that the Thursday night group is a very quiet group, other than Dan. Don't ask that many questions. He keeps us going.
Yeah. The Thursday night is quiet. And, what's beautiful about it is, like on some of these things, like Fourth for All, there were people in Fourth for All who actually hadn't participated in the other Zoom stuff, and so different people participate at different places, and I think that's great. There's people participating in Zoom choir, I assume, that aren't participating in other places.
And boy, that's an interesting experience.
I bet it is.
Because you can't all keep your mics on.
Yeah.
To be heard, and if you could, there's different delays with different devices, so you can't ever do anything in unison,
right?
Which is a problem. But you've heard some of the recordings. They're getting better with our cutoffs and our entrances and our breathing, where the first were kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
We're starting to figure it out. And again, it's one more chance where some of the people that can't get to the congregation can see each other and touch base and catch up on what's happened during the week. And I do like the fact that Bob Owen is the IT coordinator for Bill Bletz and John Briner. He goes and visits them and tries to figure out how to get them set up, and now they're back in and they're able to be with us, which is it's very exciting.
Excellent. So we've got all kinds of stuff going on now, stuff planned for the future. What I want to explore next is, so what does stewardship have to do with any of this?